Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for World Cup fantasy content for this here World Cup tournament. My name is Dan and today we are going to have a look at my team for Matchday 5, the quarterfinals, how I'm going to set up my team most likely for this upcoming matchday. So if you do enjoy this video, please do leave a like, please do subscribe as well. Let's get straight into it. Okay guys, so I've got 5 free transfers to use, 1 million in the bank as well. I've already actually made some transfers from last match day. I had a few spare transfers left over at the end of match day 4, so I used them to start setting up my team, but since then I've not touched my match day 5 transfer, so we're going to talk about what I'm going to be doing with them today. Let's get cracking. In goal, we've got Alisson, plays up first against Croatia. We think this is a really nice fixture for Brazil, and prior to the group stage, Brazil were not actually conceding any chances really at all, but we saw into the knockout stages, well, Alisson had to make a few saves, and he was doing so well. You know, we were kind of reminded of what an insane goalkeeper he is. Best goalkeeper in the world, you would probably say. Now, Croatia, I don't think they're going to create too many chances, but we know that if they do, Alisson is going to be there, hopefully picking up some saves, and should be a reasonably good chance of a clean sheet in this situation. It's certainly one of the better chances of clean sheets that you're going to have in a matchday 5. Into defense, we've got the trio of Marquinhos, Otamendi, and Guerrero. So Guerrero is a new addition. I did bring him in at the end of matchday 4 after he had already played, of course, but I wanted to get Guerrero in because I'm not really sure if Cancelo is going to start or not. I would say that Guerrero is probably the most nailed on of the fullbacks, the wingbacks from Portugal at the moment, and I like that Morocco fixture. 5 million as well is a very nice price as well, and I've been impressed with this player in general. So I think this is another real good opportunity for a clean sheet. So I'd say these two fixtures, Brazil against Croatia and Portugal against Morocco, are probably the 2 best chances you're going to get of clean sheets. Morocco are probably going to sit quite deep and not do too much attacking and really focusing on the defensive side of things and try and nick a goal maybe towards the end of the game. So I think that is what is going to really be beneficial for Guerrero. We've got Marquinhos as well, obviously doubling up on that Brazil defense. We do want to be going in on the Brazil defense. We're probably going to say that they are the best defense in the whole tournament, and you know, they've got a reasonably favorable fixture. Look, it could be better. The fixture could be better, but certainly it's not the worst fixture in the world, is it? At this stage of the tournament, we have got some tougher fixtures, and you would say, I know you guys are going to hate me for saying this, but Croatia, Morocco, they are going to be considered the 2 weakest teams at this stage in the tournament. Now, this Otamendi game against Netherlands, I'm not so confident about this one. I do feel like that the Argentina do have a slightly better defense than the Netherlands, and they have shown in this tournament that they can play quite negative kind of within themselves and kind of, you know, play a bit more pragmatic football, and I wonder if they're going to do that against the Netherlands. Otamendi has got a bit of aerial threat there as well, so there are things to like about Otamendi, but he's by no means a player I feel I must have or anything like that. In midfield, we've got Paqueta, so I've been really impressed by him in this tournament. He is playing really well, and since it's so difficult to pick midfielders at the moment, why not go for a player like him? 7 million, reasonably good price, plays straight away, and maybe he's going to be creating a few chances for his teammates. Maybe he's going to be making a couple of tackles as well. I feel like at this stage, we are going to be looking for those midfielders who are not just scoring and assisting, because it's going to get harder and harder to get those kind of midfielders that will be doing those actions, but also try and find players who can get those key passes and tackle points, because every point is going to matter at this stage of the tournament. There's not going to be a lot of points to be gained as there was earlier on in the tournament. There were loads of points to be gained. At this stage, we just want to be picking up some nice, you know, some nice modest amount of points, and we can be probably pretty happy with that. I've got Perisic here against Brazil. He is a player I'm looking at removing because, like I said, I do think Brazil are such a good defense, and I really feel like Brazil are going to beat Croatia and go forward to the next stage of the competition, and the last thing I want is too many players who are just not available for matchday 6 and having to rip up my team to remove all of the players who got knocked out. That's going to happen either way, really, but if we can try and minimize that by going for players from favored teams, I think that's probably a good idea. We've got Klaassen here just because he is only 6 million and playing in attacking midfield. Seems to be reasonably nailed on in that position at this point. So, I mean, it's literally just a situation where we're like, yeah, there's not too much to pick from, particularly in terms of cheaper midfielders. If we get to the game itself and Klaassen is being benched for whatever reason, I would switch him up to someone else. And finally, we've got Bruno Fernandes in there as well against Morocco. Again, I do think Morocco is going to be difficult for Portugal to score too many goals against, but you feel like with Fernandes, if anyone is going to unlock that defense, then maybe it's going to be him. If Ronaldo isn't playing, then Bruno is going to be on penalties as well. We know he's on set pieces as well, which is really, really nice. So there's different ways of Bruno Fernandes to get points. Even if the game is a little bit cagey, there's still going to be those, you know, little opportunities there for him to get you some points, which is something I quite like about him. And one of the reasons why I'd be happy to go with him, even though he's quite expensive and even though it is quite a difficult game. But, you know, like midfielders, we just need to take what we can get, really. Up front, currently I have Richarlison, Messi and Mbappe. So Richarlison is just super obvious. I'm sure all of us are thinking about Richarlison right now against Croatia. We're expecting Brazil to score some goals. And I have to say, Croatia, I don't think they've been perfect defensively. I've been really impressed by Garvidol, I can never say his name. The Croatian centre-back, you know, the young guy, left centre-back, 20 years old, looks absolutely insane player. But I do think he has shown some fragilities in some of the games, probably a little bit because of his age. But in general, he's been fantastic. But if it weren't for him, Croatia would be in even bigger trouble, because I feel like they have been conceding chances and there is going to be real opportunities here. I mean, there's a couple of games I look at in this round where I feel like there are teams that could concede goals, and the two teams I feel like could concede goals is Croatia, hence going for Richarlison as a Brazil attacker against Croatia, and Messi against Netherlands. So I feel like Netherlands have actually been pretty weak defensively as well. I know people are going to say, well, what do you mean? They've hardly conceded any goals. They haven't faced a single high-quality attacker so far in this tournament, and they've still conceded so many chances in this tournament. So when they come up against the likes of Messi and Alvarez and Di Maria, if he plays, etc., they're probably going to be in trouble. If I'm totally honest, I look at this Netherlands team and I feel like they can really be got at. There's real opportunity for someone to score against them if they do have that high quality, that you know, being a little bit more clinical, because you know, they have conceded chances in this tournament. So therefore, Messi, another player I'm very happy with and a player who I really do want in my team. And finally, Mbappe, who is he's not going to be injured. So I know the few rumours flying about that he was injured. He just had a indoor training session, so that's why he missed training. He was still training. He was just training indoors instead. A little bit of a recovery time for him, which was much needed, I'm sure. So he is going to be playing against England. I don't think this is a super easy game for France. I would say that this game is probably going to be reasonably low scoring. If anyone is going to score for France, though, who do you think it's going to be? It's probably going to be Mbappe, but he's another player I'm certainly thinking about removing. Onto the bench, we've got Costa against Morocco, so another Portugal defender up against Morocco, or defensive player, or clean sheets gainer, I suppose, which is, I think, a pretty nice player to go for. You know, if Alisson, for whatever reason, doesn't keep that clean sheet, then we have got Costa as a backup there. I think that's reasonably good. I've got Luke Shaw on the bench at the moment against France. Am I confident about this one? No, I feel like France are probably going to score against England, but it is what it is. Saka against France. I do feel like France can be scored against. I do feel like that is the case. France are obviously going to be a favourite in that game, but I'm really thinking, I'm not like certain they're going to keep a clean sheet by any stretch of the imagination, and it's going to be players like Saka or Phil Foden who are most likely to get goals in that game. I think they're both going to start on either wing. I think Saka potentially, if Theo Hernandez is playing advanced on the left-hand side, then maybe that leaves a little bit of space for Saka to exploit. And usually there is a lot of space around the side where Saka plays, because England do often overload on the left-hand side, giving that space to Saka on the right-hand side. So maybe that's to cross balls in, or to, you know, take shots directly himself. I'm not sure. So yeah, that's definitely something to consider when we're picking our England players against France. Plus, he's listed as a midfielder, and that's always a positive. And finally, Theo Hernandez, who is by far the most attacking of the France defenders, arguably the only attacking France defender. He gets into those nice areas just behind Mbappe, linking up there, you know, maybe getting assists off Mbappe, because he does pass to him so quite a lot. So I wonder if that's going to be an opportunity for an assist there. I hope it isn't, because obviously I want England to win, so very, very difficult situation for me. But yeah, I think the crux of this for me is that England-France is probably the hardest game to call. So that's not really a game I want to have too many players in. I feel like Argentina will probably beat beat the Netherlands, but I'm not 100% sure about that one either. Aside from that, I'm kind of back in the favourites, really. But I'm going to make some transfers, and I don't want to use all of my transfers because I do want to have the opportunity not only to react to if we get, you know, random benchings or injuries or things like that over the course of the match day, but also, ideally, I would quite like to save transfers and use them, you know, just before the final game ends, you know, England versus France, just before that game ends. I do want to make sure that I am making a couple of transfers there so we can remove some of the players that I have that have been knocked out already. And perhaps I do that even earlier than that. You know, for example, if, you know, Argentina or the Netherlands get knocked out on the 9th, on Friday, then at that stage, maybe I say, okay, after the game is end, let's use one of my remaining transfers to remove one of those players and replace them with someone else. I think that's just an option for you there. Obviously, we'll be able to get more Brazil players, which is probably what I'll do, to be honest. But we are going to use some transfers now, and I'm not 100% sure on this one, so don't hold me to this. There's 2 transfers I like, 1 transfer I am not sure about. So let me tell you what I'm thinking at this exact moment. Of course, I will try and confirm things on our deadline stream tomorrow on Friday, just before kickoff. So this is what I'm thinking. So Luke Shaw out for Denzel Dumfries, moving Guerrero on to the bench. We have got Di Maria in for Perisic, and finally Neymar in for Mbappe, which leaves me nothing in the bank and 2 free transfers to use kind of at my leisure. We're very Brazil heavy in this team, but I think that's sensible. We can have up to 5 Brazil players. They're the most likely to progress to the next round. I don't want to, you know, like, I know Croatia fans, I know you're watching, and I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, if Brazil get knocked out, if we do Brazil over, Dan, you're in big trouble. And you know what? If I've committed this heavy on Brazil, I would deserve to be in trouble. But I am confident about this one. It's the fixture I'm the most confident in, and therefore I'm going to overload on that one and pick players like Richarlison and Neymar, who I do think are going to have that ability to have attacking returns. I think there's goals up for grabs in this game, particularly if Brazil get an early goal. I think we could be looking at a little bit of a cricket score in that game, exactly as we saw against the Korea Republic. You know, Brazil just have that ability and have that flair, you know, to really go at it, and they've got a real good positive spirit at the moment. So I like Neymar. He's on the set pieces, he is on the penalties as well, and he's going to be very much involved in everything Brazil do, and he also is going to play, you know, 85, 90 minutes, unless it's like 5-0, in which case you've probably already got your Neymar points already. Neymar is probably going to play a lot of minutes in this game as well as that star of the team. So like Neymar a lot. Denzel Dumfries, obviously a very attacking player. He's going to be playing on the right-hand side. And what we see with Argentina is that their left back often goes quite far up the pitch. We can see that their left-hand side is quite an attacking side in general. I don't know if that's going to leave opportunities for the, you know, the pace and power of Dumfries on that right-hand side to charge up the pitch and either get on the end of crosses and finding himself in space, or put those crosses in himself. We saw a little bit of that against the USA at last match day, didn't we? But what I like about Dumfries is, although I don't think the Netherlands will keep a clean sheet, what I do want is to try and find some defenders who are going to score some goals, because in general, clean sheets are probably going to be difficult to find. You know, we're going to be very difficult to predict them unless we've got a really, really obvious favourite in a game. In games like Argentina, Netherlands, really hard to pick who is going to keep the clean sheet there. Probably neither. Same situation with England versus France. So if you are going to go for players from these teams, we do need to make sure that we're going for super attacking defenders, and that is exactly what Denzel Dumfries is. We know about that. And finally, we've got Di Maria in here, who is the one I'm least convinced by, but just because I'm not sure if he's going to be available for this fixture or not. I know he's in training. I'm waiting to hear further news. By the time this video comes out, maybe you guys know, you guys have got news already, potentially. Maybe I have news already in real life. I don't know. Ask me on Twitter. But yeah, certainly right now, I don't know if he's going to be available, but I feel like if he is, like I say, I feel like Netherlands are one of the teams that can concede goals here. And if we're looking to attack these teams that can concede goals, then it makes sense to go for a forward who is listed as a midfielder in a game where it's impossible to pick midfielders, which I know I keep complaining about, but, you know, it's genuinely kind of difficult. You guys must know what I mean by this point. So, yeah, there you go. That would be kind of what my team looks like. In terms of captaincy, first captain's armband on Neymar. I think that makes a lot of sense. Pretty obvious to go for him as our first captain straight off the bat against Croatia. First fixture as well. Let's see how he does. And then certainly my second captain, I'm thinking probably probably Messi, to be honest. So it's going to be, you know, as we kind of often do in these fantasy games, is Neymar, well, one premium forward as your first captain and your other premium forward as your second captain. And I think that probably makes good strategical sense and sensible sense. Sensible sense. There you go. New phrase of the day. Sensible sense. So yeah, I feel like both of those players have a good opportunity. It would probably take me, I don't know, 6 points or less, and I would probably change captain. If Neymar gets 7 points or more, maybe 8 points or more, then at that point I would stick with Neymar, because I feel like as we progress further into the tournament, there is going to be less opportunities to get those big scores. So, you know, what is a 6, 7, 8 pointer right now is probably going to be the equivalent of a 9, 10, 11 pointer earlier on in the tournament. So, you know, it's all kind of relative in that way. So, yeah, Neymar first captain. This is probably roughly what my team is going to look like, depending on Di Maria news. But I like this team in general. There's only a few players that I'm not 100% on. But in general, we've got enough players in here that I'm really happy with. Hopefully, that allows me to save at least one transfer to make a switch to react to teams getting knocked out, ready for match day 6, because that will be kind of the last time we'll have, you know, after this match day, everyone who's remaining, the 4 teams that are remaining, play in both match day 6 and 7 because of that third place playoff match. So this is going to be the last real time we kind of have to maybe think about saving some transfers and trying to make sure we can cover ourselves if teams get knocked out, particularly if they get knocked out unexpectedly. But there you go, guys. That is going to be my team, my personal team for match day 5. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like this video, then please do leave a like. Feel free to subscribe as well. We have got some other videos about Matchday 5 as well. So I did make a strategy stream where we went through a wildcard team. So if you are starting from scratch, you want to make a wildcard team, or you just have loads of transfers and you want to figure out what kind of players you should be targeting, maybe that strategy stream is good for you, as I put kind of the perfect Matchday 5 team in that video. And also we did a tier list video where we rank all kinds of players based on, you know, how good I think they are, which I know is very opinion based, but maybe you like that kind of thing too. Like the video, subscribe, as I say, and hopefully, guys, I will see a few of you on tomorrow's deadline stream, 1 hour before the deadline. So that's going to be 2 p.m. UK time on Friday. Hopefully see a few of you guys there, but until then, I'll see you later, mates. Bye bye.